Hello and welcome to class. So this is our prenatal. Welcome. We're going to come take a comfortable seated position. We're going to move to our mats, and every week you're progressing in your pregnancy. Every week you will feel different in your body. And some days you'll feel that shift in your physical body. So every day, every week, we adjust and we realign to all the movements and the growth and the shift of our hormones that we experience from week to week, day to day. So we start seated on our mats. And as you can see, I have my blanket here. I encourage you to use your blanket, to use a bolster. We want to elevate the spine. We want to sit a little upright so that the knees are on the same line as the hips. When the knees are up higher, there's going to be stress and strain that happens in the mid-back and in the lower back, and especially during pregnancy. We want to find positions where we have ease, where we feel supported. Ladies, if you have 2 yoga blocks, which I do recommend for prenatal, it can feel comforting to have the blocks under the thighs or under the knees. And it's surprising. I'd like you just to experiment with it. If you have 2 blocks, and you'll notice how that affects you energetically, how it shifts the energy. Just by placing the blocks under my knees, I can feel a little more comfort within my body, a little more sense of stability, anchoring, safety. So sometimes it's surprising just by using a prop how it can affect us on a mental, emotional state. So we're going to come to close the eyes. I invite you to come place your hands onto your belly. And allow the tip of the tongue to rest behind the 2 front teeth. Draw the inner gaze inwards and upwards to the brow point. And allow the warmth of your hands to radiate onto your belly. Radiate and connect with your baby. Allow your abdomen to soften. And as we draw our senses inwards, we connect with the breath, with the body, and we listen to the energy of the body. How do you feel? By drawing the senses inwards, it may allow you to acknowledge just how exhausted you are. It may allow you to drop into the heart and come to listen if there is any fear, if there is any anxiety. How are the hormones playing out? And how are you doing? Allow whatever is present to arise without judgment, without it being right or wrong, but just holding that space for the emotion. And there may be times, especially for you mamas who are coming into a second child, holding a second child. You may already be sleep deprived. You may already be fatigued or taxed when it's our first, we have this luxury, even if we're working, the time that we are not working is still truly our own and that we choose to share with our partners. And when you already have one running around in the world and needing your attention, when you are holding the energy of a second, you have a greater insight what is to come, even though each child is uniquely different. So just be aware and honor and allow if emotions come to rise. Steady, cleansing breaths in. And smooth, steady, cleansing breaths out. Noticing the quality of your breath. Now, as your baby grows, there will be a shift in the positioning of the pelvis. Remember, you also have that relaxin running through the body, so there is more freedom and flexibility available to the body. So there may be a slight rolling forwards in the pelvis, and especially as you come into the second and third trimester with that extra weight on the front of the body. It may naturally rock forwards. So be aware of dropping into the back of the buttock bones, allowing the buttock bones to descend into the earth. And especially when you have the eyes closed and you make that soft, subtle adjustment in the positioning of the pelvis, you'll become more aware of that broadening through the back of the sacrum, that liberating of the lower back, sacrum, and just observe sensations that come into place. We come to find our steady, cleansing inhale. And our smooth, steady, cleansing exhale. Now, the in and exhale through the nose is important as it helps to calm and soothe the central nervous system. It allows you to calm the mind and calm the body. So you begin to expand ever so slightly in the length of the inhale. And you gently come expand as you release into the exhale. As if to breathe in slow motion. And then, ladies, allow the corners of your eyes to smile. Draw your smile inwards. And observe the energetic shift that comes about in your physical body. It's important for us to bear witness to that shift so that we can remind ourselves to laugh, to smile, especially when it can get intense or when the little one is challenging you on an emotional front. You can shift your perspective to the situation by allowing yourself to think of something amusing or just to bring that loving, compassionate smile across your face. And that will help with that shift in the body. It will help shift your mental state. Because when we are sleep deprived, we are challenged in maintaining a positive, affirmative outlook because there is depletion in the system, in the mind and in the body. And as you exhale, now come take your hands together at the heart center and come bow your chin down to the heart, honoring your body and inviting your magnificent mind to merge with the wisdom of your body and your soul. And then coming to open the eyes gently back into. All right. We're going to open up into the hips. We're going to take the palms of the hands together. We're going to bring right pointer finger on top of left. Let all the fingers follow suit. Turn the hands inside out. Keep the elbows royally bent and descend the shoulder blades down the back of your body. Come turn your head gently from side to side. Noticing the quality in the neck and shoulders, as this is that common area where we hold tension in the neck and shoulders. And as we come back to center, we'll slowly raise the arms up. Shoulder blades are drawing down and the heart gently rises. Now, root evenly into the right and left buttock bone. Descend the shoulders away from the ears. And even though you have babes here, you can still knit the ribs together. You can still create containment in the ribs. This will protect the lower back as you maintain that grounding in the buttock bone. Now bring your awareness to the outer edges of the feet and actively engage the outer edges of the feet into the earth. Good. Moving towards bringing the heels to stack under the knees or moving them in that general direction. Now extend the arms straight up overhead, maintain the descending quality in the shoulder blades and the shoulders, and then take that length with you as you rest the fingertips to the earth. Now, depending on how far along you are, especially if you're in your third trimester, you'll feel more comfortable resting the hands onto the blocks. If you're in your early second, and even in the end of the first trimester, you may find that it's comfortable and available to you to come here resting with hands to the earth. Finding that steady cleansing inhale and the smooth, steady cleansing exhale. then we gently ease back up. We're going to change the interlock of the legs. We're creatures of habit, so we want to be mindful of shifting the positioning of the legs so that we become more familiar and at ease on both sides. As there's always some degree of misalignment in the body, we want to keep it to a minimum as much as possible. Palms of the hands coming together once again. Now come take left pointer finger on top of right. Turning hands inside out. Release the shoulders away from the ears. And then once again, we'll turn the head gently from side to side. Honoring the neck and shoulders. And as you come back to center, once again, there's this awareness of knitting the ribs together, of descending the buttock bones down. And then we'll gently come raise the arms up overhead as the shoulders descend away from the ears. And take that full cleansing breath in and out. Feel free to keep those arms royally bent. If it's available to you to straighten them to whatever degree, explore it. But know that keeping them royally bent, if that's what you feel you need, is more than acceptable. Especially, again, when you move into that third trimester, you're not going to have the arms quite as high overhead. You'll have them slightly more in front so as not to tax and pull in the pelvic region. All right, let's release the interlock. Extend and raise the arms up as you elongate through the spine, and then gently come rest the fingertips to the earth. Observing the quality of the breath as we find our cleansing inhale and our smooth, steady cleansing exhale. Maintaining and observing the quality of the breath. Keep the buttock bones rooting into the earth. Keep broadening through the collarbone and envisioning space between each vertebrae of the spine. Less is more. And I encourage that this be your motto during pregnancy. Less is more wherever possible. Learning to conserve our energy. Because once babes is out in the world, we want to be aware and connected to our physical bodies enough to know when we are moving towards depletion and when we are moving towards that running on empty. So that we don't get to that point where we hit that wall with a migraine, we hit that wall with complete fatigue that we break down. So that we begin to listen to the body's signals, even several times in the day, to sit on the edge of a chair, eyes open or closed, but just to drop into your breath. Even if you have another toddler running around, there will be moments that they are content in exploring or discovering a new object. It's in those moments, either in the same room or just around the corner within eye shot for you, but they can't quite see you because sometimes as soon as they see you, they drop what they're doing and they're all over you. So sometimes we need to just take a moment just slightly back from the action, but still able to observe. Just take a moment to drop into your breath, eyes open or closed, and take that moment to expand upon the length of your inhale and expand upon the length of your exhale so that you begin to settle deeper into your physical body to truly gauge how you feel in your physical body. And softly sit to listen to the response. And then you have free will to choose to act upon it or to say, yes, I'll rest later. Knowing that often later doesn't come until bedtime. So if you do notice, gosh, I'm really tired, shift gears, conserve your energy, get down on the floor and less moving about, less running around, but get closer to the earth and be down on the floor with your little one. Do and get creative as to how to conserve your energy. It will pay off. All right, let's come onto our hands and knees. We're going to come to cat-cow. Come spread your fingertips and thumb pads wide. Your middle finger is aligned with the center of your wrist, and your shoulders are stacked above the wrist. Your hips are stacked above the knees, and you can start with some nice hip circles. You can either do a full circle or you can do a figure 8 with the hips. Find your breath. Find that movement. And sometimes it can feel particularly good when you're rocking to the side and you get that wonderful stretch in the glutes. Just take a pause if it feels like you've hit jackpot and it feels really good. And just pause and gently go back and forth. And then come back to center. Eyes softly gazing to the earth as the shoulders descend away from the ears. Belly draws in towards the spine as you lengthen all the way through the back body. Transfer the weight to the right knee and stretch the left leg back. Curl the left toes under, and you'll get a wonderful calf stretch and a nice stretch through the sole of the foot. Breathe here. Pause. Drop the outer hip and bring your awareness to the inner groin. This is going to help keep the hips level. You want to imagine there's a teacup sitting on the sacrum, and you want to keep that water level. So as you slowly raise that left leg by lifting the left inner upper groin, pressing out through the sole of the foot, observing the breath, full cleansing in breaths and out breaths. And you can stay as you are if this is enough. You can stop and let the toes rest to the floor if you notice that your energy levels are not there today. Honor it. Honor it by doing less when need be. You can stay as you are, or you can raise that right arm alongside the ear with or without the leg. Or you can just do the leg and not do the arm. 2 more breaths in, 2 more breaths out. And then we'll release that right hand back down. Cross the left foot over to the right side. Plant the toes down, stretch out through the heel, and look over the right shoulder towards the left heel. It's going to be a wonderful stretch through that left side body. Your hip is lengthening to your heel, and you get to stretch all the way into the ribs. If there are any little heels kicking into the ribs, there'll be a little more space in there. And then we'll ease gently back to center. You can choose to do some hip circles once again, or you can bring the knees nice and wide, draw the buttocks back, and rest the forehead onto the stacked fists. All right, gently easing back up as we come to the other side. Transfer the weight to the left knee. Stretch the right leg out behind you. Curl the toes under and get that wonderful stretch now through the right calf. You're dropping the outer hip and you're rolling in through the inner upper groin so as to create balance in the pelvis. You're drawing the shoulders away from the ears as you continue to draw back into that back foot, lengthening through the calf. And when you're ready, you're going to power up through that right leg. Lift up from the inner right thigh as you press out through the sole of the foot. Allow your shoulders to descend away from the ear. And you can stay as you are, or you can bring the opposite arm alongside the ear, pressing out through the sole of the foot. Make sure that left thumb is pointing upwards as that stabilizes the shoulder girdle. Less is more, ladies. Honor, keeping the hand on the floor is more than acceptable if that's what's needed today. Come cross right foot over to left side. Plant the toes down. And then softly come to look over that left shoulder towards the right heel. Hip lengthens to here. Breathe into the sides of the body. And you find that cleansing, inhale, cleansing, exhale, and again that wonderful stretch. Good. Coming back to center. Now we're going to come to a resting pose. In prenatal, I have you come to 2 resting poses. 1 quarter of the way in at the beginning, and then an extending resting pose at the end. Because it's so critical for us to unwind, to slow down. This is why I encourage you to have 2 blocks in prenatal. And 1 bolster. You may have a rectangular bolster or an oval, a round, whichever you are most familiar with or what you're most comfortable with. All right. I'm going to show you with the round. And you can probably find these on Amazon and other yoga prop websites. Now, it might not be available to you to sit onto your thighs or sit on your heels, as you have that extra blood flow. And sometimes if we have injury, it can be speaking a little louder in the ankles and the knees. So you may have a 3rd block. Otherwise, you can roll up a blanket and you can place the blanket in between the heels to elevate the buttocks. And that will alleviate some of the pressure. If it's pressure on the tops of the feet that you're experiencing, a gentle roll in the blanket will alleviate the pressure. You see there's a small roll. Place it behind, and then the top of the foot, the arch of the foot, will then sit and be supported by the roll. And that can relieve some of the pressure on the top of the foot. So you have 2 ways to adjust. Buttocks remain on the blocks or on the blanket or on your heels. Hands come in front You elongate through the spine, and then you gently ease forwards. Sometimes I like to bring this block further down. Move my hand, I gently move this bottom block lower. And depending upon what's most comfortable to you, you can slide your hands in between the blocks and you give a nice cuddle to the bolster. You can release the arms alongside the blocks to the side. And if you're further along in your pregnancy, then there'll be more of a gap between the blocks, the end of the bolster, and your abdomen, so that babes is further down and there's more of a gap and more freedom for babes to come in between the thighs and not rest on the block and the bolster. If you feel it jarring in your neck, and that's generally the case if you're further along in your pregnancy in the end of second and third trimester, you'll want to flatten the top back block to one position lower, which will give you more ease in the positioning of the neck. Come to close your eyes, ladies. And with every exhalation, allow your physical body to surrender deeper into the props, into the bolster. I'm going to be here for a few minutes. With every exhalation, letting go a little more into the prop, into the bolster. a slightly deeper breath in and out, just to slowly ease you back into the room. And then when you're ready, turn the palms of the hands down onto the earth if they're not there already. And then gently easing your way back up. Good. All right. Release the bolster, place it aside. Come place the blocks aside. And we'll gently ease our way back up. And this time we'll make our way up to standing. And we'll come to find our Tadasana. Coming up to standing at the head of your mat. Coming to take the hands together at the heart. Now a block can be helpful here as we come into Tadasana. I'm going to just move this up a fraction more. You can still see the mat. So we're going to take this block and we're going to place it in between the thighs. Again, if you don't have a block, not to worry. Just bring your feet hip width apart. Everybody align your middle toe with the center of the heel. And shift the weight 5% back into the heels. Again, as we progress in our pregnancy, everything's growing at the front of the body. Other areas might be growing a little bit too, but generally most of the weight is accumulating in babes. So there can be a tendency to shift the weight forwards. And the buttocks can lift because the weight of babes projects the pelvis forwards and brings the pelvis out. And this contributes to our lower back pain. So we want to be mindful of descending the buttock bones down, slightly raising the pubis bone to bring that pelvis into center. Again, just witness that slight adjustment may make a considerable difference to the discomfort in the lower back. And once you've experienced it firsthand in the body, it will be anchored in, and you can drop back into that memory and reposition the pelvis, reposition how you're inhabiting the body to bring the body back into balance. And do some gentle autocorrects so that there is greater ease and stability within the body. Hands are together at the heart. And as we lift all 10 toes, we're spreading the toes wide. And then we'll gently allow the toes to rest down to the earth. We're going to shift the weight back and allow for the heels to root down into the earth. Good. As you travel up the legs, squeeze the block and allow for that nice compact leg energy to come into the physical body. You feel that nice descending quality in the pelvis. From here, we rise up through the heart and the crown of the head. So we have that awareness that we can indeed defy gravity. Shoulder blades are drawing down, collarbone is broad, and there's that wonderful opening in the chest and heart. And then we'll take 3 breaths. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Merge the breath and the movement. Again, if you're in your 3rd trimester, you may not bring the arms all the way up overhead. You may just bring them to shoulder height and then release them back down. Once more, inhale, rise. As you exhale, releasing the arms back down. Good. Take the hands back to heart center as you shift, finding your breath. And then we're going to release the block from in between the thighs. Place the block aside. And then bring the legs, maintain them as they are. Keep them hip width apart, but now you're going to drop into that invisible block in between the thighs. Find that wonderful compact leg energy and allow the buttock bones to energetically descend downwards to the earth as the heart rises. Shoulder blades descend. When we find our cleansing inhale and our steady cleansing exhale. Good. Take a breath here. Tadasana is such a powerful pose. We need it in our parenting. We need it to anchor and to root us, connecting us to the earth. Finding that center, finding that anchoring in. Now from this place of grounding, we're going to shift the weight to the right foot. Step the left foot back behind you. Now, I run into the wall, but you'll be able to step the foot further back, I hope. And right knee stacks above right heel, and left heel is rooted down into the earth. Now, note that my back foot is indeed more north or out to the east. It's not fully turning out to the side wall, because then when I try to square the hips, my knee is put under strain and it's put in jeopardy of injury. So we're working on keeping that foot aligned, rooting into that back heel, keeping the leg straight and strong and finding that internal rotation through the inner upper groin. Hands come to heart center. Eyes open or closed. I want you to anchor into your foundation. Your body is ever changing. Your baby is growing. I want you to find your center. Good. One more breath in. Now, you may choose to keep the hands and keep them at heart center, or you can raise the arms up overhead. Shoulders are drawing down away from the ears. Again, if you're in your third trimester, you're going to keep the arms lower rather than higher, so as not to strain in the pelvic floor. Anchoring into that back heel and allowing the grounding of the back heel to ascend and rise you up through the spine. 2 more breaths in, dropping into your warrior. Feel your grounding, feel your strength and your power here. And as you exhale, slowly release the arms back down. And you're going to come step your back foot to the head of your mat. Dropping back into your Tadasana. Draw back to the midline of your body and find your stillness and steadiness here once again. Observe, witness, how is the quality of the breath? And when you're ready, you're going to shift the weight into that left foot, transferring the weight as you now step the right foot back behind you. Come step the right foot forwards, left foot forwards, right foot back. I apologize. Hips are square to the front of the room. You're rooting into that back right heel. And again, the right foot is pointing more north or slightly out to the west. Roll the inner upper groin in so as to stabilize the back of the sacrum so that the spine can rise up. If there's a torque in the sacrum and the right hip is back with the legs, you're going to create strain in the lumbar in the mid and lower back. And you want to create as much stability, alignment, anchoring so that your foundation is stable, in alignment, so the spine can ascend and rise. So find your breath here, take that pause, eyes open or closed. Notice the quality of the breath. Find your center. You can stay as you are, or you can open the eyes and raise the arms up overhead. Full cleansing breaths in and out. Keep that descending quality in the shoulders. Maintain the freedom in the neck and shoulders as you rise out of your grounded, stable foundation. And as you exhale, you sweep the arms steadily back down, hands coming back to heart center. And when you're ready, slowly coming to step the back foot to the head of your mat as you come back to grounding into your center. Eyes open or closed, take a pause here and listen. How is the breath? How is the heart rate? And notice that as you drop into that breath and you find your even inhale and your smooth, steady, cleansing exhale, you're recalibrating the heart, slowing the heart rate down by expanding upon that exhalation, mindfully breathing out, mindfully drawing the breath in once again. When you're ready, opening the eyes. Let's come to transition. I'm going to have you come to the wall. Now you just need a small patch of wall. We're going to do downward facing dog, but I'd like to do it at the wall because it's less taxing. And if you're in your end of second and third trimester, you don't want to be in an inversion. And in your first trimester, you might not have the energy and you don't want to be fighting with your mind saying, nope, this is what I did and I'm going to muscle through it. We want to not do that and witness where our mind wants to override the body and come to find that quiet acceptance of where we are right now. So I'd like you to experience downward facing dog at the wall. So it's actually not at the heart is not below the hips. You're going to spread your hands wide. They're going to be a little higher than the shoulders. And we're going to walk the feet back. The hips are going to stack above the heels, and you're spreading your fingertips and thumb pads wide. And you're pressing especially into your pointer finger and thumb, descending through the inner wrist as you press into the whole hand. Now you're rolling the upper arms out to allow for that descending of the shoulder blades down the back body. Remember, you have the weight of big, so avoid this overarching. We're going to lift the pubis bone and slightly draw the tailbone down. So again, you have that broadness in the back of the sacrum. So you're rooting the hands into the wall Yet you're drawing the buttocks back, so you're elongating through the spine. Ladies, make sure your ears stay alongside your inner arms. Do not drop the head forwards, because that will create compression in the neck and shoulders. Bring the back of the skull up towards the ceiling, so your ears align perfectly with your inner arms. Find your breath. And envision creating more length and extension through each vertebrae of the spine. Full cleansing breaths in and out. Good. And then slowly easing back up. Come step 1 foot forwards and then the other. And come roll your shoulders. Good. All right. We're going to step the feet 3 to 4 feet apart. Left foot, turn it in. Allow the outer edge of the left foot to be parallel to the outer edge of the mat. And then pivot on the right heel. Your right heel wants to be aligned with the heel or the arch of the back foot. We're going to come to warrior 2. So the front knee is bent and the knee is stacked above the heel. With warrior 2, the most important is that we're lengthening through the inner thigh and we're drawing back through the outer thigh. Pelvis is level, and then we'll float the arms parallel to the earth. You're softly going to extend the gaze to look over the fingertips of your front right hand. Your back left foot is rooted into the earth. The heart is rising. Shoulder blades are descending. And we're harnessing the breath here. Now, if your energy level feels depleted and this feels taxing, you're going to pull back and do less. And just keep your hands at heart center. This is that cultivation of the honoring of doing less, of pulling back and conserving our energy. And if you're not sure, you may be more aware at the end of class if you feel a nice even groundedness, or if you feel that sense of, oh, I'm exhausted. Then it's note to self, I did too much. So if you're not quite sure while you're in the pose what is needed, then experiment. Take note after class when you come out of the posture. But we are building our stamina in our bodies and in our minds. But we're not muscling through. So there's a distinction here. Take hands to heart center. You're going to draw your right hip down and you're going to draw the torso over to the side. You're going to keep left shoulder stacked above right shoulder. Left ribs is stacked under right ribs. And your torso is stacked above this right leg. You're rooted in the back foot. And as you keep hands at heart center, you're elongating through the spine. And you're going to breathe right here. There's going to be a nice crease in the hip crease. A nice lengthening from buttocks to heel. And you're going to maintain that even inhale and steady cleansing exhale. Let the breath sustain you. Let it be energizing so that you can refine that awareness of pulling back, doing less, and yet building that stamina mentally, physically, emotionally. The two can reside together. But we need to become clear on how they merge uniquely to us and how it ebbs and flows from day to day. So if you come up just a fraction higher, you'll notice it eases away out of strain into ease, where you can sustain the pose. All right, release as you come out. We're taking the bend out of the front knee. Let's come turn right toes in, and we'll turn left toes out. Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Bend through that left knee. Let it stack above the left heel. And a helpful practice is to lift the toes of the left foot and then gently place them back down, maintaining the anchoring through the mound of the big toe, maintaining the anchoring through the inner heel. There's a lengthening through the inner groin. There's a drawing back through the outer groin, the outer thigh. And then we'll raise the arms parallel to the earth. We'll softly extend the gaze over the fingertips of that front left hand. Rooting into the back foot as the shoulder blades descend and the heart rises. Cleansing breaths in and out, standing strong in our warrior. Full breaths in, full breaths out. We're going to maintain the breath. You can always release the hands to bring them to heart center as we keep the grounding in the foundation. All right, come back to heart center. Now come crease into that front left hip. Draw the buttock towards the back heel, and as you root into the back foot, you're elongating and lengthening through the spine. Your shoulders are drawing down away from the ears, and you're harnessing the breath. Full cleansing breaths in and out. Is your torso stacked above this bent knee? Is the hip descending into the heel, and are you light in the upper body? No strain. If there's stress and strain, come up just a tiny bit and notice how it liberates you. You're still in effort, but you're not over-efforting. One more breath in. And then we'll gently ease back up to center. Taking the bend out of the front knee and turning the toes in. Good. Rooting into the feet, rooting into the outer edge of the feet. Make sure your big toes are pointing straight ahead. We're going to take your hands as if they're in back pockets and bring them lower if you feel it strains in the neck or your shoulders creep up to your ears. Your elbows are drawing inwards towards each other. The buttock bones are descending downwards to the earth, and yet the collarbone is broad. And just take a breath here. Nice, steady, cleansing breaths in and out. Witnessing the quality of the breath, witnessing the grounding in the heels and in the outer edges of the feet. And then as you exhale, take the hands to heart center. And we're going to slowly bow forward. Now, imagine you've got a beach ball in between the thighs, and you're gently squeezing the thighs together. Ladies, you're not going far. And if you find you want a little more stability, you may rest the hands onto the tops of the thighs. Just make sure the elbows are drawing in towards the ribs, because if the elbows flare out, then your shoulders are rolling in and you're collapsing in the heart. So the elbows are drawing inwards towards the ribs, the collarbone is broad, and you're letting babes hang forwards, but still knit the front ribs to the back ribs and create stability in the front and back body. One more breath in. Less is more, not go too far. Even if you can rest the hands to the earth, stay up higher. And then with that compact leg energy, gently ease your way back to center. Good. Hands coming to heart center. Come, heel, toe, your feet together as you come back to your Tadasana. Hands dropping back to heart center. Take a pause here as you find your breath. Can you feel the heel energy once again? Can you feel that anchoring through the back body? Find your Tadasana, defy gravity. Good. And then slowly come to make your way back down to your mat. You're going to come down to a comfortable seated position. We're going to do a little bit of shoulder work before we come to Shavasana, our final resting pose, which if you're in your first trimester, you may do Shavasana. Otherwise, I will show you your adjustments. Now again, we're going to be sitting on these heels because this is good to lessen varicose veins. If it runs in your family, you're going to be more prone to it. So sitting in Virasana and Vajrasana is optimal to minimize the varicose veins. So you can take the feet a little more out to the side. You can have your block sideways. Let me give you that view from here. You can have the block sideways. Some of you may have the block flat. Some of you may need and prefer the block, two blocks on top of each other. You may also have this second block perched so that it gives you more elevation. We all have history. So depending on the history of your body will depend on how much support you need at this time. All right. You will need something. If you have done this posture before, you may find with the excess fluid in the body, just the corner of a blanket may suffice. All right. We're going to take the belt into the right hand. And again, we're going to raise the arm up alongside the ear. Take your left hand and take hold of the right tricep. Roll the arm alongside the ear to work that external rotation. And as you bend the elbow, we're going to rest left hand onto right elbow. We're going to knit the ribs together and again drop the tailbone down. Work that broadening on the back body. Allow for that broadening in the sacrum. You may stay as you are. If you wish to take it one step further, you may release the left arm, turn the hand to face the wall behind you, and then slide the hand up the spine. catching the belt. Your right elbow rises and your left elbow descends. Eyes open or closed, find your breath here. Now, you will honor, you want this elbow to be somewhere on this trajectory. If you notice the elbow splays out, this is not a healthy shoulder action. So you want to keep the arm or elbow pointing straight ahead. So that may mean you need to keep the arm low. You may be in varying degrees. The elbow might not raise straight up to the ceiling, so be it. Honor where the elbow lands. And open up into the chest and heart. 2 more cleansing breaths in and out. And then we come to release. Rolling the shoulders. And then we'll go to the other side. Extend that left arm up alongside the ear. Take the right hand, take hold of the tricep. Roll the arm in towards the ear. Bending at the elbow and then gently guiding left elbow up. Find that inner arm, let it roll inwards towards the ear. Elbow guides up, or it's out in front, or it's down, wherever it comes to rest on this trajectory. Don't let it splay. Keep it in towards the ear. Now let's take that left hand to face the wall, right hand to face the wall behind you, and then slide that the right hand up the center of the spine. Left elbow rises, right elbow descends, and we find our breath. Cleansing breaths in and out. Two more in breaths, 2 more out breaths. And then you gently release the arms. Good. Come roll the shoulders. All right. We're going to come make our way to our final resting pose. Now you can improvise with a bolster by having sometimes 2 pillows from the bed. You can wrap them around with a long shawl to make it one. That will make a slightly firmer bolster. If you're in your first trimester, like I said, you can still lie on the ground and place the bolster under the back of the knees. If you're in your second trimester, or you're familiar with Supta Baddha Konasana and you love it, then you can take it in your first and second trimester. So you will need, again, those 2 blocks. If you just have the one, having it sideways will be enough. You'll be at a slightly less incline, but that's fine. And you'll place your bolster over the top. Your rolled up blanket, your rolled up pillows, whatever it is that you have. You have the 2 blocks, one is upright and the other is lower. And you'll come sit in front of that bolster. I'll show you 3rd trimester in just a moment. Now, you'll have the back of your sacrum up to the bolster. You will need 2 more cushions, blankets, whatever you have. If they're blankets, let them turn out to the side. And you'll need support for your legs. So this third blanket can come in handy. A nice firm blanket. It can be folded in a quarter or in half, but you're going to make it into a nice long strip, like so. Nice long strip. And then you're going to place the center of this blanket over the soles of your feet. You're going to lift the knees and slide the hands under the knees. Take hold of this blanket. Sorry, having it in a quarter is too snug. Okay, it would need to be in half. That's it. And you're going to make it into that nice long strip. Longer. The center of the blanket is over the soles of your feet. You'll slide your hands under the thighs, and you'll let the blanket fold double under the shins. And you'll notice it gives a nice support for the legs. So you do want it folded double, even if you're pretty mobile and flexible. You don't want any sense of pulling and tugging, and you don't know until you go back, because once you lie back, it's going to be a little more of an opening because of the angle. So we're sitting with our buttocks snug up to the bolster. The blanket is over the feet, and then it folds double under the shins. So the legs are supported. We have armrests either side. Take the hands behind you on the bolster and elongate the spine. You may need your fourth blanket and place that under the back of the head so that the head is higher than the heart. Now this is your posture for first and second trimester. The abdomen is soft and relaxed. The chest is open. The lungs are free. And you'll have a wonderful experience here of deep relaxation. Stay here if you're in your first and second trimester. If you have tension in the lower back, you'll just lift the buttocks and lengthen the buttocks towards the heels, and that will free any tension in the lower back. Ladies, in your third trimester, you'll use the blanket as your pillow, or you have a regular pillow. You are at home after all. You can improvise however you need. So you create your pillow. You have two options. You can place the bolster in between the knees so that the top knee is stacked above the top hip. That can be a wonderful position. Or you can straighten the bottom leg. Bring this bolster snug up to the hip so it's right under babes. And then you can rest the leg forwards. And the pelvis is slightly coming forwards too, so you're at a slight angle in the pelvis. But it's resting on the bolster, so you're not going to be squishing babes. But it does allow you to roll forwards a little bit without squishing. You can take hold of the blanket, roll it up so that that top arm has something to rest on. If you have an extra eye pillow, place it in this bottom left hand. You can rest the eye pillow on your neck. If you're lying back over the bolster, you place the eye pillow over the eyes. Ladies, come close the eyes, release the bottom jaw from the top jaw, and drop into your breath. Your natural, rhythmic breath. Continue to close the eyes. Continue to stay in your resting position. With every exhalation, you surrender deeper into the earth, deeper into your props. Gently beginning to move your fingers and your toes in ways that feel comfortable to you, allowing your breath to become slightly fuller and deeper. And when you're ready, come to rest onto your left side. Resting the forehead down onto the earth just to ground you and bring you back into the When you're ready, gently beginning to ease up to a comfortable seated position. We'll take our hands together at heart center. We'll seal our practice with one round of Om. Steadily breathing in. Swallow in your throat. Namaste, thank you. I wish you a wonderful week ahead. I will send this video out to you and may you enjoy it throughout the week. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Please share what I do with other mums who are in need and mums to be, as this is an important practice for them this time. Many blessings. Good night.